Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to a new edition of Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter.
That's right, man.
I'd like to introduce my main man, KJ, former defensive back with Clemson, 99 to 2002. And today's special guest, we
got a
got
big one, man.
NC.State Wolfpack in the house tonight. He's right here, led the defense in interceptions. Played for the Saints, also played in the CFL, and made a lot of noise. Y'all give it up for my main man, Derrick Taylor. What's going on,
what's going on, man?
What's up, gentlemen? What's up, gentlemen? I don't know about that Clemson football, man.
Come on, man. Hey, you know how we do it. Shoot. Hey, check the stats, man.
Yeah. For everybody that don't know you, Derrick, let them know where you're from and a little bit about your background.
Well, I was born in St. Louis, but I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I basically I moved to Charlotte probably around 4 or 5 years old.
Uh-huh.
And I grew up in Charlotte on the north side of the town, and went to Catholic school all my schooling from kindergarten to 12th grade. I went to a small Catholic elementary, middle school, and then went to Charlotte Catholic High for high school.
Okay.
All right. Hey, so what age you start playing sports, and what sport was your first love growing up?
Well, so I grew up with my grandmother, man, and grandma didn't want me getting hurt, so I played. She enrolled me in baseball first, or t-ball first. I was probably about 6 years old.
Okay.
And then I started playing basketball about 8, and then I started playing football about 10 years old. My first love was actually basketball, man. I was a basketball player.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But I didn't get my dad's height. My dad was 6'5". I didn't get his height. I kept waiting for this growth spurt, and it never came. Yeah, it never came. But basketball was my favorite sport. Actually, I stopped playing football. Probably my either seventh or eighth grade year, I stopped playing football because I said I'm just going to concentrate on basketball.
Okay.
So I didn't. Actually, it would have been my 7th grade year because I didn't play my 8th grade year, and I didn't play for 2 years, and I didn't play my 9th grade year when I went to high school. And my coach, the football coach, was my gym teacher, and we were out playing tag football, and he called me up into the stands and was like, "Son, why you not playing football?" I said, "Well, Coach, I want to concentrate on basketball." He said, "Do you think you're gonna get any taller?" I said, "Well, I hope so."
I hope so. Yeah, for real. That's the goal.
He said, "You know what? If you want to get a scholarship and go to school, you need to come play football." So my sophomore year, I went back to playing football again.
Okay. All right. So growing up, who was your favorite athlete? Who was like people that you model your game after?
You know, man, I didn't really have anybody particular. I grew up in the age of Sports Illustrated. We had Sports Illustrated magazine, right?
Oh yeah,
nothing online, the actual paper.
Yep.
And I had a subscription to Sports Illustrated, so I would there was always a good picture on the cover.
Yeah.
I had all these covers in my room. So I had baseball players, I had basketball players, I had football players, I had hockey players.
Yeah.
I didn't really model myself. But what's interesting though is I grew up a Dodger fan, and I grew up a Laker fan, and I ended up living in Los Angeles later in life. But So like, I was a fan of the Dodgers back when they had Ron Say and Davey Lopes and all those guys. Right. And the Lakers when they had Wilt and all those guys. And so I really didn't have someone. I grew up in football. I grew up a Pittsburgh Steelers fan because Charlotte didn't. We didn't have a football team yet, so I grew up a Steelers fan in the AFC and a Redskins fan in the NFC.
NFC, yeah.
But I really, to answer your question, I really didn't have a particular person I necessarily looked up to, or like tried to model my. I just tried to be myself, man.
For sure. Hey, so your first year in high school playing football, what position did you start out with, and did you play right away?
Well, no. So, like I said, I hadn't played in 2 seasons. So, my sophomore year, I was on a JV team, and I played running back and played safety or corner actually. I started at corner, played a little bit on running back. And then when I went to my junior year and played varsity, I started at corner and then played backup on running back. And then my senior year, I was the main running back.
Okay. All right. So at the time when you played in high school, who's the competition in your area?
So I mean, I don't know if you know. So Charlotte Catholic was like a Catholic school, but it was a 2A school. So it was a smaller school at the time.
Okay.
And so, but we didn't play we only played one other private school. We played in a public school division.
Oh.
And we played quite a few. Every year we played at least 1 or 2, we'll call like 4A schools.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'd play like Olympic. We played West Mech one year, but in our division it was I remember Monroe, and also I'm trying to think of the Forest Hills was the big competition there, both in basketball and in football.
Okay.
All right. So playing football in high school, how far did y'all go in the playoffs? Y'all do pretty well?
Yeah, man. North Carolina do some crazy stuff with playoffs and stuff. So my junior year, we got bumped. So historically they would take the top 2 teams from each conference. And my senior year, for some reason, they made this thing where they're only going to take the first team, and they're going to send the second team to what they call a Division II playoffs. So we ended up winning. We came in second in our conference, so we went to the Division II playoffs, and we won that. But obviously, it was kind of a consolation prize because it wasn't really the big state playoff. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
But we were. I mean, Charlotte Catholic, even though it was a small school and it was a Catholic school, private school, it always did well in football.
Okay, no problem. So, in high school, let me ask you, as far as your coaches, who you give the credit to for molding your game at defensive back?
Well, in high school, man, it's hard to have good coaches. We had a good head coach.
Okay.
His name was Jim Odo. He recently passed a couple of years ago, but he set up a system. We ran because we were a small school and kind of like I don't know if you guys see like Army. I think maybe even Navy runs it, but they run the wing T offense.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he ran that. And so, I mean, to answer your question, from a defensive back perspective, I had to just kind of learn it on my own, really.
Wow.
Because we had no one, we didn't have a whole lot of coaches. So it's not like you had a defensive back coach or anything. Okay. Like Tuesdays would be defensive days because most of the guys we had to play both ways. So, Monday would be offense, Tuesday would be defense. Then we have a team thing on Wednesday, and then you have walkthrough on Thursday. Then you play on Friday.
Yep. Wow. All right. Let's talk about the recruiting process coming out of high school. What all schools was looking at you at that time?
Oh man, coming from a small school, I didn't have a whole lot of, I didn't have a whole lot of schools looking at me. I don't know if it was because I think maybe some people thought I might play basketball.
Oh, okay,
or what. But so I got recruited by VMI, Virginia Military Institute.
Mm-hmm.
I got recruited by Davidson College. I wanted to go to NC.State. I sent them some highlights and stuff, and my coach, he actually played at NC.State, so I was trying to use him as kind of my inroad. But what happened was the year that I was coming out, Monty Kiffin, who was the head coach at NC.State, got fired. Actually, because of you guys, Clemson.
Oh man,
y'all were beating us up, so they fired him.
Dang.
So him and his coaching staff got fired. So when I was coming out, I was sending them stuff, but it was kind of like going to a black hole. So they never got back to me because they were literally in the middle of. They hired a gentleman, Coach Tom Reed. He was a linebacker coach, I think, for Michigan for Bo Schembechler, and he took over a head coach. But like they weren't really coordinated and at the time when I was coming out. So I ended up going. I was going to go to Virginia Military Institute because I wasn't trying to get in the military. So I went to Davidson.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I ended up transferring from there after my freshman year. I didn't play that much. I didn't like the school. And the crazy thing was the week that I decided and had done all the paperwork to transfer, the basketball coach saw me in walking through the yard, and he came up to me. He's like, because I had gone to his basketball camps as a kid, and he was like, we need to get you on the basketball team. And I was like, you about a week late, man, because I may have considered it, but I'd already decided I was going to transfer.
Okay. So when you got to North Carolina State, which player welcomed you to the team with open arms?
Open arms?
I know
Probably no open arms back then, man.
Spots, but who was the guy that you connect with when you first got to the college? At North Carolina State.
Well, probably, I kind of connected. So back in those days, you had to sit out a year.
Yep.
So I actually walked on.
Oh.
So my roommate was another walk-on. I forgot Willie's last name, but he was another walk-on. He was my first roommate. And then I actually, when I came to NC.State, I came as a running back.
Mm-hmm.
But because I had to sit out a year, I had to play. I was a scout team dummy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I don't know how long you go back in your football history, but I don't know if you remember the linebackers that played for the Saints back in the day when they had Sam Mills and Pat Swilling and Ricky Jackson and a guy named Von Johnson.
Yep.
And Von Johnson was one of our middle linebackers, and the other linebacker was All-American linebacker Andy Hendel. And man, they used to light me up in practice. So I was like, look, I'm going to be a wide receiver. So I went to wide receiver. And because I was strong and I could block and stuff like that, they put me on the defensive as a defensive back, man.
Okay.
All right, word. Well, talk about your first start playing for the Wolfpack. How was that when you first got out there, seeing all the people, and you was like, all right, I'm here. It's time to make plays.
Yeah, that didn't. I played my sophomore year once. They gave me a scholarship. My junior, which would have been my sophomore year. Actually, my junior year, but redshirt sophomore year. I really only played like special teams, and then my next year, I split time with the starter. So like I said, I mentioned earlier, Tom Reed was the coach my first 3 years, and we went 3-8 3 years in a row. And he got fired. Him and his staff got fired.
Cool.
And then Dick Sheridan, who was the head coach for Furman at the time, they hired him. And so when him and his folks came in, they said, look, we understand that, you guys haven't done well. We understand that, dude, they had people out of position. We had a dude who was like, who ended up starting at free safety my senior year. He's probably like 6 feet, 190 pounds. They had him at outside backer, stuff like that. And so basically Dick Sheridan said, look, we're going to wipe the slate clean. You go to whatever position you want to play and you earn your position. So, I was already playing defensive back. So, but basically my senior year, I started all 11 or 12 games that we played. And our first game out was against East Carolina. So that's when, kind of the lights came on. It was a night game. East Carolina, NC.State don't like each other. East Carolina don't like any North Carolina teams, because the story is that they always want to be ACC. And so that was kind of the first, like, okay, I'm here. I got to do something, Yeah. So that's kind of how it happened.
Okay. Well, I got some clips from North Carolina State back in those days, man. You out there making big plays. If everybody just watching, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, Deezer, Instagram. We are former North Carolina State Wolfpack and New Orleans Saint defensive back, Derrick Taylor. All right. I do not own the rights to the video. Stay with me, Derrick, okay?
Okay.
The big plays began early for Tech. On the Hokies' first play from scrimmage, Maurice Williams cut loose for 77 yards, a new Peach Bowl record. They pulled him in at the 2-yard line, but Eddie Hunter took it in from there, and Tech led 7-0 with the kick. A short while later, it was State's turn. Derrick Taylor blocked a Tech punt, and Brian Bullock was there to get it in the end zone. It was 7-7 with the kick. Tech kicked a field goal for the lead, but another big play was in store for State. 3rd and 11 from the 25. Eric Kramer to Nasworthen for the lead. It was 14-10. State added another touchdown on a Kramer pass to Ralph Britt, but Kramer's big plays worked against him in the second half. A couple of fumbles set up a couple of Tech touchdowns. This one, Eric Chapman to Steve Johnson, gave Tech a 22-21 lead in the fourth quarter. State held off the 2-point attempt, and it was a 1-point game. Then State moved right back down the field with Kramer's passing, and they nearly had a touchdown on this pass to Haywood Jeffries, but Jeffries was out of bounds when he caught it. Mike Topher, old reliable, came on for State, kicked a 33-yard field goal, and it was a 24-22 State lead. State got back to the big plays after that. A long mouth right run, and a daring fake punt with Kelly Holliday gaining the first down. But Tech had the last chance. The Hokies came upon a 4th and 3 at the 37-yard line with less than a minute. They got the first down, and the stage was set for Chris Kinzer to try a kick from 40 yards with 4 seconds, and it would win the game. The heartbreaker of the year, VPI 25, State 24.
It's hard for me to explain, but it's like when Coach Sheridan came over and put his arm around me after the game, it just hit me that we didn't fulfill a lot of expectations.
Yes, sir. We back. So what you remember the most about that game right there? That seemed like a real interesting game. You got Haywood Jeffries at wide receiver. Got a couple of NFL players.
Eric Kramer.
State. Talk about that game a little bit.
Man, it was exciting to go to a bowl game. It was New Year's Eve. What was weird, it was, as you saw from the highlights, I think we kicked off. So they got the ball first. And literally the first play, they ran a sweep to the, I was playing left corner. They to our right side of the defense. And the running back ran for like 70, 80 yards. We just barely got him out of bounds before he got to the end zone. So it was like, oh man, it was one of those things you ain't even got warmed up yet, really,
Oh yeah.
And then a couple of series back and forth, and then I had to block punt, so that tied the game up. I had also had a interception that game, and then our free safety, he had an interception that game. So most of the game we were like, it seemed like we were in control. Then all of a sudden in the second half, it was almost like we didn't, our coach Dick Sheridan was a very upstanding man. He didn't want to show up people. He didn't want to he was one of those guys that didn't want to, you have some coaches like keep scoring, you keep scoring. It seemed like he kind of throttled the offense down, and they came back, they got back in the game and, kicked that field goal at the last second of the game. So it was kind of disappointing because in my opinion, we had the game in control pretty much, 95% of the game.
Yeah. So what kind of coverage was y'all running back that y'all was just doing man or covered?
Most of the time, it was simpler times back there, man. So it was either cover 2, cover 3. We throw in some man in there depending on the situation. Very seldom. Sometimes we play 2-man, but our coaches, our defense coaches, they were kind of like the bend don't break type. Don't let anything deep, and just try to make the offense try to go down the field methodically, and hopefully they're gonna make a mistake or we're gonna do something to make them punt. So nothing exotic.
Okay. You guys had South Carolina and Clemson in the ACC during those years, right?
What's that?
You guys had South Carolina Gamecocks and Clemson in the ACC during those years, right?
No, South Carolina wasn't in the ACC at that time. It was just
Clemson. Just Clemson. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who was the competition? Who was the biggest competition or hurdle y'all had to come over in that conference at the time? Clemson.
Yeah. Clemson was the big dog, man. They were the big dog. We did get them that my senior year, but Clemson was a big dog because if you think about it, so my senior year was 86, so they had just won the national championship in 81, so and they were still rolling. Danny Ford was the head coach.
Yep, that's
right. So they were still rolling all the way through those years. So they were the top dog.
Oh yeah,
yes sir.
Yes.
That's why I said I don't like them.
I understand. Hey, so I know you had a good time with the bowl games. How was that experience playing at NC.State?
Man, I mean the bowl game was cool. It was disappointing. It was like I said, it was New Year's Eve, man. I went back to the hotel room and I'm not a good loser, man. I mean I don't talk no mess or nothing, but I basically stayed. I stayed with a blanket over my head until the next morning. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, I understand. Especially back then, man. People ain't like to lose, but
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got more highlights for everybody that's watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, Deezer, Instagram, and Facebook. We got former defensive back from North Carolina State Wolfpack, Derrick Taylor, and also former New Orleans Saints. All right. He played in the CFL for a few years as well. We're going to go ahead and get into this highlight. I do not own the rights to this video. Stay with us, Derrick, okay?
All right.
I know that. I know they give him chills right there.
How Hail Mary
When
win the game. So let me
back when the hip pass was showing.
yeah.
Man.
So Derrick, let me ask you, how was it guarding Sterling Sharp?
Whoa.
Yeah,
All
man.
right.
He was a bad boy. What I remember most of the game, a lot of the times he ended up on the other side, but he was tough, man. That's all I can say. He was tough. I mean, in the highlights you saw, he scored a touchdown. I think he would have even been better if he had a better quarterback. I don't know if I forget the quarterback, Todd Ellis. Yeah, I think Todd Ellis might have been from Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he was a bad boy, man. He was a bad boy. He wasn't Sterling Sharp as we know him when he got to Green Bay, but he still was a bad boy.
Okay.
Good, man. And so talk about, once college was over with, you start getting ready for the NFL, and talk about that experience.
Yeah, man. It seemed like I had hurdles all through my life when I think about it. I was hurt. I hurt my knee slightly. So when we had our pro day, I didn't have a good workout. So Pittsburgh said, like I said, I grew up a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so they was like, a few weeks later, they were like, look, we're gonna come work you out next week. And so I was like, cool. And man, so part of my keeping in shape was also playing basketball. So about 4 days before I was supposed to run for Pittsburgh, I twisted my ankle playing basketball.
Darn, man. Wow.
So when they came out, I was like, look, I can't really run because I mean, it's just
it's a twisted ankle.
Yeah, I barely can put any weight on my ankle.
Uh-huh.
So they were like, okay, well we'll come back. When you think you can run? I say, well, give me about two more weeks, and they never came back. So anyway, I didn't get drafted. I got signed by the Saints, and as a free agent, and tried out for the Saints. Back then, they brought in like a whole bunch of DBs. They looked like they were trying to test the old guys and try to get some of those guys out. I don't know if you guys may have known, but or remember names, but they had David Waymer, who was one of the corners who played in Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think anybody else that was back there that was of note. But most of the guys that of note was like I said, that linebacker group that they had.
Okay.
But it looked like they were trying to slowly move the older guys out and bring in some new guys in the defensive backfield. Mm-hmm. I got released. I was the last DB released right before the season, and then that was the strike season. And then they called me back. I wasn't going to go back, to be honest with you. I told them no, because I was like, I didn't think this was going to last. Then I thought, okay, if I go and play during the strike, would that hurt my chances getting to play again or get a tryout again? And man, I'll never forget. I was sleeping on my bed, and I get a call. And it's Coach Jim Moore. And he was like, Derrick, this is Coach Jim Moore. I'm like, what you calling me for, right? He's like, these games are gonna count. We wanna still be competitive, and I need you to come. I want you to come and play. So I was like, all right, man. So I played. We played the 3 games. I led the team in tackles. When I tried out for the Saints, they had switched me from corner to safety. So I played both strong safety and free safety. But so that was the onset of the practice squad. I mean, literally, that's where the practice squad came from. Okay. So they didn't sign me to the practice squad. So I was like, but they wanted to sign me to come back and try out the next season, and I let my emotions get to me, man, and I was like, I'm not coming back here because I didn't think I got a fair shake, right? So I didn't go back, and I tried it. I'm trying to think. Oh, that's right, because that's how I got here to California. I tried out for the Dolphins and didn't have a good workout. They didn't sign me, and I moved out here to LA, and I started training, and then that's how I ended up in the CFL. I got a tryout up there and went up there and started playing for the Calgary Stampeders.
Okay. All right. So you get overseas. You played with any former NFL players that was over there, or did you?
Yeah, most of the guys. So with the CFL, they can only have a limited amount of Americans.
Yeah.
And so I think it was. I think right now they can have 19. I can't remember. I think back when you could only have 15. Okay. But most of the dudes were guys that either played and were kind of on the fringes of NFL teams, kind of like me, and was up there playing. And you had some guys that left there and went back to the league. So.
All right. So we got some highlights from you in the CFL. For everybody that's watching, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We got former N.C.State CFL cornerback Derrick Taylor. All right. Go ahead and get into this highlight. I don't own the rights to the video. Stay with us, Derrick.
Okay, sir.
It's a long way to come back. It's how fast do you recover from the disappointment. Same way the game started. They started fast. Now can they maintain it?
Burgess fakes inside to Milson Jones. Throws deep, intended for Fairholm, incomplete. He was being covered over there by Derrick Taylor. Fairholm momentarily appeared to have a stride in behind Taylor, but the Calgary defensive back recovered.
Well, I think throwing into the wind took it away. He had him beat by a step, and when you got the wind with you, you throw it in front of him. The wind's blowing in Burgess's face right now, and he couldn't get enough on it. But Kaharick was telling us.
Looking like Deion Sanders out there, man, or Deion looking like you.
Yeah, big corner. So when you're in the CFL, did you play against Warren Moon? Was he there at the time?
Nah, Warren had left. I'm trying to think because Warren played for Edmonton, the Edmonton Eskimos, and the quarterback there was Damon Allen. What's the running back that played from USC that played at the Rams? Not the Rams, but the Raiders.
Marcus Allen?
Marcus Allen's brother. Yeah, Damon Allen. Damon Allen played. Damon Allen probably played about 15 years up in the CFL as a quarterback.
That's good.
All right. So once you was done with CFL, what was next from there?
Oh, dude, my second year, I tore my ACL playing Edmonton with like 30 seconds left in the game. And, up there, when, like I said, they only have a limited amount of Americans on the team. Okay. And if you're American and get hurt, you might as well, if you can't come back right away, they let you go because obviously you're taking up a roster spot or American spot. And they want, they would try to make sure that those are the guys that are make the plays and stuff like that. So, man, I rehabbed up there and I thought about trying to come back, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, look, it's not like you're gonna make a whole bunch of money up there. So I came back to Los Angeles and kind of had like, hey, I may try to get myself back in shape where I could try to try out again. And then I thought about it. And I was like, is it worth it? So I went to being a regular man, regular worker, man.
Okay, civilian life. You played special teams as well over in CFL, right? What was that?
Yeah.
Team? What was your favorite? I guess you could say moment playing in the CFL.
Well, like at the time, the Edmonton Eskimos, like I said, Damon Allen was a quarterback. Also, they had a guy, I forgot his name, but he played at I don't know if you Georgia Southern back in the day. Georgia Southern was winning a bunch of Division II championships, and they had a quarterback that could run, and they had another guy named Gizmo, who I forgot what college he's from. He might have been from Georgia Southern too, but he was like a gadget dude. It was like a scat back receiver, and so every time we played them, you know, it was a big game. Yeah. So that was fun. I don't know what if you call it fun, but I know I vividly remember playing in a game where it was snowing so hard I could barely see the ball up in the air. And I was just like, okay, I'll be glad when this game gets over.
Darn, man. That's crazy.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
Man. So, hey, do you have a message for the youth?
A message for the youth. Yeah, I thought about this, man. I had to think about this one. Like, you know, I need to be wise. But basically, I guess from a sporting perspective, you got to understand, and I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade or anything, but you got to just understand the numbers, man. It's, you know, there's about 500. I think I saw where there's about 510,000 college athletes every year. You know, you got. I wrote this down so I wouldn't be lying. You know, you got like a little under 2,000 NFL players. You got 480 NBA players. You got 192 WNBA players. You got about 160 CFL players, and you got about 500 volleyball men and women. You know, they got professional volleyball now. When you think about it, that's about 1% of that 510,000 people. Yeah. So just keep the numbers in. You know, I'm not saying don't go for it and all that stuff. I'm just saying just know the numbers. And I guess the other thing is what we're really, you know, me and some other guys that have played ball and stuff and talk about. What is disappointing to me is just how some of these guys who make a lot of money end up losing money. And you know, I think the statistic is, you know, what is it? Within 5 years. Well, first of all, for the NFL, the average career is only 4 years, and after 5 years, you know, even the guys that have made a lot of money, they probably have within 5 years they've spent all their money. So you know, the thing is, what I would say is, if you do get a chance to make a whole lot of money, know how to don't only understand how to save money, understand how to invest money. And make money work for you, and you not work for money. I mean, we all in some way gonna have to work for money, but if you're fortunate enough to get your hands on, you know, a big you know, a large amount of money, you know, hey, have fun, but learn how to invest it and learn how to make it work for you. So, because the thing is, even let's say a 10-year, you know, you play 10 years in NFL, NBA, what, you've had a good career. I mean, obviously, if the average is 4 years, if you 3 to 4 play for a decade, you've had a good career. But if you think about it, you play for a decade in any sport. Once you finish, you're 32, 33 years old. You still got two-thirds of your life to live. Yep. So,
what's next?
Exactly. And you know, a lot of these guys, there's several guys that are making generational amount of money. They should be money that they should be handing back down to their kids and their kids' kids. And it's just too many stories I've heard of, you know, guys have, you know, made hundreds of millions of dollars, and, you know, 4, 5, 6 years gone, it's gone. Yeah. So I guess if word to the wise, that's what I would give for the young folks.
Good message.
Any shout outs before we head out?
Yeah, I thought about this too. Well, first of all, how did you guys get my name? I forgot. We talked briefly.
Andre Hayes.
Andre Hayes. And okay, but did you guys interview Eric Kramer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did Eric Kramer.
Yeah. So Eric is a friend of mine. You know, obviously we played together, but we kind of after college, we kind of, you know, he played at Chicago, played at Detroit. But as we've gotten older, he lives here in the LA area.
Okay.
So we get together and stuff because I'm out here too. So shout out to him. You know, shout out to my boy, Andre. And shout out to you too, man. This is fun. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm glad we can make this happen.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Thank you as well.
We also had Pat and Brian Bullock on the podcast.
Oh yeah, most definitely, yeah.
Oh well, Brian Bullock was one of my roommates.
Yep.
And yeah, shout out.
Pat Teague.
Pat Teague.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, all right.
Yep. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, Derrick. You know, I would love to have you back on. What is Derrick up to now?
Ooh, man, just working and trying to be a dad, man. You know, I'm an old man with a young son.
Okay.
Trying to stay in shape. He'll be 11 in 4 days, and so trying to stay in shape so I can so he don't kick my butt for at least for a little while.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know, I've been you know, it was difficult for me when I did say I'm gonna stop playing. I happened to move to LA in kind of a bad time. I got an engineering degree while I was at NC.State.
Okay.
So when I moved here to LA, it was during the time when they were letting go a lot of engineers in different industries here, like the oil and gas industry, the aerospace industry and stuff like that. So it was really hard for me to get a job, but I got a job with a nonprofit. Then I got a job at the Federal Reserve Bank, and I've been at the Federal Reserve Bank that's kind of scary, for 31 years. So I've been in management for most of that time. I've been in the cash department for all that time. So you know, like right now, I manage the cash department where all the money comes in from the different banks and stuff. So that's what I've been doing, man.
All right. Well, happy birthday to your son, by the way, man. And also, if you know any other players like yourself that like to come on, please reach out to us.
Okay. I'll send you some. I got your contact info. I'll send you some names.
All right. Appreciate you.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show. For everybody that's watching, thank you for tuning in. I'd like to thank my man KJ, former Clemson cornerback from 99 to 2002. And also today's special guest, former North Carolina State football, New Orleans Saints and CFL defensive back, Mr. Derrick Taylor. You guys make sure you subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Make sure you hit that notification button so whenever we go live or we come on the show, you'll get that notification from your phone. Also, follow us on the Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and Deezer, all right? You guys know our motto. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And until the next time, you guys be safe and enjoy your night. Peace.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man.
No problem.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, you too.